In part 2 of making this trailer, I'm going to show how it is that I cut the frame up and make a tongue for a truck bed trailer. There are, of course, several ways that this can be done. One way is you can cut it back like I have here, and then you can go forward with new material and just make an A-frame. That's the one I'm going to use for the tongue right there. It's 4x4, quarter-inch box. Or you can, a lot of people I've seen, and this is a Dodge, an American-made vehicle, and you can see how the frame drops down. It's right after that cut there. So if you follow it, you'll see it drops down, and then it levels out. And then the rest of it over here, you can see it comes back up again. And this is the way on the American trucks they chose to accommodate the chassis and the engine and transmission. On some of the Japanese trailers that I've done, everything is straight, and it's also boxed. It's not an open channel like on these American trucks. It's boxed and usually straight. So I didn't have to do this on the Mitsubishi trailer that I made for myself. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I've already sectioned and cut the bins out, and I'm going to make straight pieces to go on here. So what I've done here is I've cut the 3 straightest pieces out of the frame, and I've got them laid out like this, almost 4 feet, just like an inch shy of 4 feet long there. And I've got some for the other side laying over there. And so that is going to come off of, one side's going to come off of there, one side's going to come off of there. It's going to meet in the middle. That tongue, that 4x4, it's going to rest right up in there. And those pieces are going to come out to form the front of the tongue. And next I'm going to mock all that up and then tack it in place. Okay, so what I've done is I've got the bed and the frame sitting on my lift, and it is level. And I've supported the tongue, the main member, and it is level. And it's also centered. I made sure of that by taking measurements from 2 known spots on each side, these rivets, and come to the exact same spot in the center here. Same measurement, it's centered. And then what I've done here is I've got from inside here to outside the frame here is exactly 17 inches. I've laid out my pieces, and I've drawn a rectangle on my incredibly dirty shop floor that shows that 17 inches. So this line here is the inside of the main tongue member, and this is where the frame on the truck starts. And so this is the 17 inches out here. And then I've just laid them out, and I want to actually come in and touch the inside edge of the main member and box this in and weld it. So in this way I can lay this out here on the floor and get my bins where I want them. And then I can figure out the angles. I don't need to remove a lot of material here to close up this gap that's in between the pieces. And so I'll just remove a little bit from each one to close up that gap. I'll tack everything in place, making sure it's level. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Hopefully they'll meet in the same place on the tongue. Okay, so I mocked up the pieces for the right side on my my layout that I did on the shop floor here, and I tacked everything in place. Everything's fitting well. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to draw this out again for the other side. But then I thought, well, I don't have to do that if I lay it out upside down on the template I already have. So this is upside down for the left side. And it's all tacked up and ready to go on the left side. I've already test fitted it. It fits well. It's flush at both ends. And I'm going to tack that in place next. So I've assembled both sides now and welded them up. So except for some areas I need to fill in. I'm going to do a little work in here, box that in. It's all welded on both sides. And it's level to the trailer bed, and the tongue is centered. Now the person I'm making this for wants to put a 6500 watt generator across the front here, and I'm going to put this toolbox across the back, and then a water tank centered right over the rear axles. And so this should more than support that. And when I did this video, I didn't do it because I think this is the best way to build a trailer tongue out of a truck bed and chassis. It's just that I went on YouTube and looked for videos on how to deal with the irregularities of the American truck manufacturers in their frame geometry, and I just didn't see anything. I saw people jumping up and down trying to torch frames out from underneath cabs and stuff like that. I just didn't see anything that kind of addressed how you could straighten these out. I mean, a lot of people cut them and bend them with those irregularities in place, and what you end up with is at the front here it's way down low, which means you've got to put a drop ball or drop hitch on your truck. And also a lot of these trailers are very short in the tongue area, and that makes them really difficult to back up. So I like to have a nice long tongue on there. Makes it easier for backing up, and in this case also accommodates the room for the generator or a toolbox, which is what I did on mine on the front. So this is in no way the only way to do this. This is just a video to show how I went about taking pieces of the truck frame, straight sections, cutting them and sectioning them in. So that's why I did this video. And the next thing that I'm going to address is beefing up the leaf spring pack, because he wants to put a 300-gallon water tank for fire in the back of this, and that's going to be 2,400 pounds of water. Now, this is only a half-ton truck, so those springs are going to be pretty maxed out when he gets all that stuff in there. So next we're going to beef up the spring pack. Got both the leaf springs out of the truck. This one here is the one I got from the junkyard off a similar model Dodge. This one here is one that came out of the truck. That's the way that the truck was when it was presented to me. And here's the one that I made up to support the extra load of the water tank. What somebody did here was they added these two pieces, just torched out a bigger hole that went over that. So this wasn't really locating properly in the rear axle. That's dangerous to do it that way. The only thing that was keeping it from slipping out of there were the U-bolts. So I'm going to take the springs out of this one and make this spring pack down here. This is what's going to go in and support that extra load.